So now we're going to move on to our next bit of news. We're staying within the realm of the DC universe. A few months back, on the heels of the success of Peacemaker, James Gunn let it be known that he was working on a top secret other project, that it was going to be also a TV series for HBO Max. He alluded to the fact that it was also based on a character from the Suicide Squad. But this week, we finally found out what it is. James Gunn is currently executive producing an Amanda Waller TV series for HBO Max that will bring back Viola Davis in the iconic role that she has now played 2 different times. So there's our big mystery there. When you found out about this, Brett, were you happy to hear it was Amanda Waller, or were you hoping it was like the Weasel or Polka Dot Man 2 or something?
I actually would have been really into Polka Dot Man because he kind of like stole the show for the movie for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why I wasn't thinking Amanda Waller, but I was thinking like a lot of people were thinking Ratcatcher.
Yeah.
I was like, I heard that one a lot. But yeah, it's Amanda Waller. And I'm like, listen, as far as like the pedigree of actress you have in Viola Davis, that's pretty awesome that she was like on board to do this. We did also previously get comments from James Gunn that it would probably not be as much of a comedy as Peacemaker. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a different genre, a different tone. And we do know, I think the only other detail we know is that it is going to continue off of where Amanda Waller was at the end of Peacemaker, which, as we know, her daughter outed her as heading up Task Force X, and a lot of the shitty shit she does,
Yeah.
in the black ops, part of the government. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential with the series. Like I said, the pedigree is top notch. I think there's also like a producer that was involved with the Watchmen series, which
Well,
tremendous.
that's what I was. That's what I was about to get
Yeah.
to. Because aside from this not being a comedy, being less comedic, as James Gunn put it, there's a whole different sort of creative guard here, because James Gunn is just executive producing, which is really one of those, he's kind of hands off in a creative sense. The writer of the piece is actually a writer from the HBO Max's Watchmen series, which I know you were a big fan of, and I was too. That was, and that fills me with hope. Her name is Crystal Henry. Crystal Henry is set to write and executive produce the series. So to me, that fills me with some hope that this is going to have, you know me, I love my DC stuff, my superhero stuff that has something to say. And Watchmen definitely had something to say. And even Peacemaker, in its own offbeat, quirky, comedic sort of way, had something to say about America and society and patriotism and all that. So getting the writer from Watchmen, I think it bodes well for this project. I just wonder, like, but at the same time, the flip side of that is I was a little bit bummed that Gunn is not writing and directing it, because one of the things that made Peacemaker, I think, work so well is he wrote and directed. He was hands-on for that series.
Yeah.
And in James Gunn, I trust. So when I heard he's only exec producing, I'm like, but then I see
he might come in and direct like an episode or something, though.
Maybe,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm sure, even though it's a title thing, executive producer, I'm sure he will have his like little stamp, on this and his influence in there. I feel like even when he's executive producing, I feel like his fingerprints are on things.
So. What's interesting about it too is, how Gunn has talked about the potential for cameos and DC sort of crossovers, that he said that, that Justice League cameo at the end of Peacemaker season 1 was really just kind of like the start of things, that he's planning on bringing in other ones as long as they serve the story and all that. You'd have to imagine that also applies to this series. And Amanda Waller is an interesting character because she has links to lots of other characters in the DC universe. She's not just associated with the Suicide Squad. In fact, when we met her, we see her, not that we met her, but at the end of that Suicide Squad movies, where we have her having a conversation with Bruce Wayne, right? And I'm trying to think. I mean, I feel like there are some other examples, but the point is, Waller is a character that can branch out. So as we get into her world and the day-to-day life of this person, there's a chance that we're going to see her interact with some other major characters along the way. So I think that's kind of interesting too. I wonder how much it's going to interweave with whatever Peacemaker 2 ends up being. Since,
Right.
her daughter is a primary character on Peacemaker,
Right.
is that character also going to cross over into this one? Is whatever happens here going to bleed into Peacemaker season 2? Like, I have a feeling there's probably going to be some synergy here. So I'm
Yeah, I
just,
feel like that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, I
yeah,
think whatever happens here will kind of be like a maybe like bridge a gap. Well, I mean, I don't know if this is just in development now. I feel like they might be further along with the Peacemaker 2 at this point. I mean, who knows? I don't know
yeah.
like what the timeline is. So I'd
Mhm.
be curious if this does come in and bridges the gap between, or maybe they come out very close together and it's like
Yeah.
more like a concurrent thing.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out. But yeah, it's interesting stuff. I think they have a chance, to really do, like we said, like a different genre here. Maybe it'll be like a political kind of like spy thriller or something like that. They could really go like a cool angle with it, and then yeah, bring in some characters. Maybe they introduce like a big. Like, what if we get like and not that he normally works with Suicide Squad, but like they bring in like a new Green Arrow or something, or like they bring in
Yeah.
like another hero, and then like we find out, oh, they're doing a Green Arrow HBO Max series because now the CW one's done. So we can get Oliver Queen in there. We can get another like rich playboy superhero, since we don't have as of yet, aside
Yeah.
from Keaton, we don't have like that kind of Batman-ish character. So that could be a cool way to do it, and then give him an HBO Max series and really like branch it off. So I would love to see like that. Like
I mean,
that
imagine
character.
if through her recruiting for Task Force X, imagine if through this is how we get to see Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke
I
again,
was just thinking
right?
that. Yeah,
Like, imagine, she brings him on because she hears about this mercenary criminal and whatever, and she wants to get him to be involved with them.
that would be
And
awesome.
that segues into his solo series. I've always kind of said too that like the way to restore the Snyderverse isn't necessarily through making JL 2 and 3, but it's through taking the characters from that world and now giving them new life. So if
Yeah.
we can finally get to see Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke in an HBO Max series that comes from the Amanda Waller series, that would be pretty damn great.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So
potential with that, just because, like you said, like she has connections to like a
yeah.
lot of DC characters. So I
Mhm.
think that's smart. I think there's a very good reason why they are doing an Amanda Waller series.
Yeah.
So
I'm
this could
very
be cool.
excited. Very excited.